Ian Rapoport, NFL Network insider, has already visited the Bucs, Jags, Titans, Saints, Bears, Chiefs. He's headed to Broncos camp, and then he goes to the Patriots and the Bills. NFL Network's Inside Training Camp airs daily through August 6th, and Ian joins us now. When's the last time you visited a camp and you got either one of those, oh my gosh, positive, or oh my gosh, negative feeling?
I've had some overly positive ones, I think, especially for some of the places that have really struggled the last couple of years. I was just at the Chiefs, and the practice was so good. It was tough, intense, but it was so good, and Mahomes looked awesome. But you're sort of like, all right, that's what you expect. It was like a good reminder of why the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl basically every year. But then you go a couple other places, and you can be like, all right, I can see if they're going to have a big turnaround, why. I was at the Titans, and you see Cam Ward, you watch him throw a little bit, you gain an understanding for why teammates and coaches love him, the work ethic and all that stuff. And I left there being like, I don't know how many times they're going to win this year. Maybe it's 6 or 7, I don't know. But I can really see how the rebuild would start now. And so, that's sort of what you get. Rather than all right, this team's going to win the Super Bowl, because the really good teams, they kind of look just normal to you,
What do you think of the Broncos? That it felt like they surprised people, and I know you're just going there now, but now we expect Bo Nix to be a playoff caliber quarterback. We know Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame coach, but the expectation level, like the Commanders as well, that second year, we saw this with the Texans. What is it you feel like when you think of the Broncos going into what is considered the second year of this turnaround?
Yeah, it's definitely going to get harder. Schedule will get harder. Expectations will get more. I think people know what to expect of Bo Nix now. I think last year, I would be in that list of is Bo Nix going to be a franchise starting quarterback in the NFL? I really wasn't sure. I really didn't know. You watch him enough last year. You watch, for instance, the plays he made in that Bengals game late, and this guy looks legit. And so the Broncos had no business winning that many games last year. They really didn't. I thought it would be kind of a transition year of 6 or 7, and they were really good, and they didn't even have the personnel close to being as good as the record was. And so this year, another year in the draft, another year of development, some key free agents Hufanga and Greenlaw, both love both of those. They should be good. I know the expectations are more, but they should be more ready as an organization to be good. And it was a good reminder for me, and I guess for everyone, that Sean Payton is a very, very excellent head coach.
I'm wondering about the trend. The NFL's a copycat league, and is the trend going with younger coaches? You do have Pete Carroll. I think there's always the possibility of Belichick, or if Nick Saban wants to get back in it. But is the trend now with that younger guy, offensive-minded, or, even in Aaron Glenn's situation, defensive-minded?
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like, right? Or at least let me say this. If you have a young guy that's really good, you don't hear anymore well, he hasn't paid his dues, or is he ready? It feels more actually kind of like the players are treated, where it's if you're talented enough, start you, make mistakes, and everyone will be okay with it, because learning while doing it is better than not having that talent on the field. You know what I mean? So, there's going to be some young coaches who, Liam Cohen is a great example, right? He's really smart. He's really talented. I was in Jacksonville. He sounds like he has a really good vision for what he wants it to look like and how hard it needs to be. And he has been trained by Sean McVay and Todd Bowles, two guys who have done it consistently. They should be better this year. But, it's not going to be perfect because he's a young coach who hasn't done it. So I think teams are more willing to roll with some of the growing pains. And it's not just, head coaches, right? The offensive coordinator named Grant Udinski, who's in his late 20s, I think, and is already an OC, and 10 years ago would never be, but he's talented enough, we're like, you know what? Let's just do it.
Talking to Ian Rapoport, NFL Network insider, part of NFL Network's Inside Training Camp, airs daily through August 6th. Jon Gruden put out something where he says something about he's on the verge of doing something, coming back. I don't know if you saw that. Is there a future for Jon Gruden to come back in the NFL, in your opinion?
There's still some legal issues that need to be worked through. Now, like, if somebody wants to hire him, my sense is if there would be things where everybody could get together on the legal side and figure it out and either compromise or just settle it, handle it, whatever, like, perhaps, I'm sure there's some interest. I haven't heard any team particularly trying to hire him as a head coach. I did know there were some teams that thought about hiring him as a coordinator, which, like, how would you, would be hard to have a better hire than that as a coordinator. I would say, to me, as someone who likes football content as much as football, I kind of like him where he is, to be honest. That's just, like, selfish. He's in a great spot. I mean, I think his stuff is really good. But I wouldn't rule it out. I really wouldn't.
The hold-ins, Trey Hendrickson coming back to the Bengals means what to you?
It means, I wouldn't say they're closer to a deal, but it's harder to not do a deal, if that makes sense. Like, he's there. And this is why I always feel, just sort of like personal preference, that hold-ins are more effective than holdouts. Holdouts, to me, like, I wouldn't want to get fined and give away a bunch of money. Like, that wouldn't be my move. But hold-ins are tough because you see them every day. The fans see them every day at training camp. You know how good Trey Hendrickson is. You know how good Terry McLaurin is. So if you're a coach, you're constantly looking at them like, hey, if that guy was on the field, like, we would be a lot better. And so, sometimes that can push a deal. I thought it was, the right move for both of those guys to come in and ramp up the pressure. And I think there's a deal to be made for both of those players. Just, you hope it's sooner rather than later.
And then the Micah Parsons situation as well. It just feels like all of these deals get done. I know we get excited. We're hungry for any content this time of the year, but why do we wait? Why do owners wait?
I don't want to say it's owners waiting. I think for Micah Parsons, everybody seems to be waiting. I have always thought that Micah should be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL the whole season. And so if that's the case, he's got to go last. And he is very smart and very savvy and business-wise, probably as well-versed as anyone his age. And so, and his agent, David Mulugeta, is very good at educating clients. So they know if you go last, you are the most. And so my sense is he was going to be last. Now, I don't know if it's going to be like scrambling around before kickoff like with Dak a couple years ago or last year, whenever that was. But my sense is it's last. And like Aiden Hutchinson, is in talks for a new deal with the Lions. Maybe that happens, and then Micah goes.
Better run organization, the Chiefs or the Eagles?
Similar. Better run, I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs have been doing it for longer, but the Eagles have done such an unbelievable job of, like, it's a good mix of keeping veterans that you want to keep and then letting the guys you're okay letting go and just replacing them in the draft. Both of those guys do an awesome job of drafting players and not needing them to play so they can learn the right way. I don't know who's better, but this is kind of where you want to get to, right? Like, I don't pick records or predictions or whatever, but I don't really know anyone who doesn't believe both of those teams are going to have double-digit wins this year, next year, the year after. Like, that's just what it's like, and, that's an unbelievable reality. It really is.
We go to the other end of the rainbow. The Browns owner, Jimmy Haslam, came out and said this draft selection of Shedeur Sanders is on his GM, Andrew Berry. What did you make of that comment by the owner?
So I understand it, and it is right. Like, I know that this was Andrew Berry's pick. I know it was in consultation with his football people, his coaches, his personnel staff. And then, the Browns, I mean, this sounds strange to say because of the record, but they really are a very well-run franchise despite having a quarterback albatross of Deshaun Watson and that contract and that situation and all of that. They really do it the right way, and the right way is your football people make the decisions, the owner empowers them and gives the okay, and then you move forward. There's two things that I didn't love about that whole situation. I think one is the quote is being a little bit taken out of context, as in, like, it's Andrew Berry's blame. Like, he's the GM. Like, they're all his picks. So I thought it was fine. I just feels like people are missing the context. The other thing is Shedeur might be good. Like, I have no idea, and I'm going to go there in a couple of days, but we're not going to know this year. We may not know next year. So I don't really understand why it feels like people are blaming Andrew Berry. Like, there is a chance, and it's, non-0%, that Shedeur Sanders is the franchise quarterback for the Browns, and it's one of the best picks they ever made in franchise history. That is an absolute possibility. He is very talented. So, yes, it was the GM's pick, but we don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah, I think the one thing I wonder about, if it's Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, is how much of a runway the Browns will give them with 2 first-round picks next year. And if, that you got to fight that urge of, do we see enough with Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel to go, let's give them another year, or do you go all in with the 2 first-round picks and try to get you your franchise quarterback?
That is the biggest of all the things for the Browns this year. And I know they're trying to win, and, like, the actual roster is pretty good. I think Flacco, if he starts, could be totally fine. But that's the issue, and, like, I've thought about it a ton because, like, you're on the road alone. All you do is think about these dorky football things, right? It's going to be hard because, like, let's say it's a struggle, and let's say they're kind of not ready. All the fans are going to care about, all the talk radio and reporters, and Cleveland is a very intense media environment. All anyone's going to care about is, when can we see the young guys? And it might be Shedeur, it might be Dillon Gabriel. There's a lot of people in the draft who said if Dillon Gabriel was 6'2", he'd be an early pick, which, shout out to short guys. I root for all of them. I don't know how you avoid that temptation, but that's the story of their season to me.
When's the last time you had a player get in your face over something you reported or said?
It almost never happens, because, like, I've had, a player sort of make a snide comment, like, maybe once every 5 years, but you can never tell if they're joking. What I try to do is, before I do anything, I have the conversation. Like, even though it's really fast-paced, like, a lot of times, you sort of know what you're going to hit send on before you do it. So I try to get to the agent or the player or the GM or the PR guy and just be like, here's what I have, just to have the conversation before it goes public. So, like, I used to, first 7 or 8 years doing this, it used to happen all the time. Now it almost never happens because at least people know what to expect when I say it on TV or when I hit send on a tweet.
Great to catch up with you, Ian. Safe travels. Thanks for joining us.
I got 3.9 more miles, so this timing was perfect. Thanks, Dan.
All right, that's Ian Rapoport, NFL Network insider. NFL Network's Inside Training Camp airs every day through August 6th. So he's been to the Bucs, Jags, Titans, Saints, Bears, Chiefs, and he's got the Patriots and the Bills coming up.